Italian real estate has never been so popular. If you're looking for a good deal, there are three sources of cheap real estate to choose from here in Italy: superior homes, one-year homes, and court auctions. If you're here to find some tips on buying cheap homes in Italy from someone who has done it, let me tell you, you're in the right place. Not only have I done it myself, but this channel is dedicated to sharing the story of those who purchased from all the varying sources of Italian real estate. In fact, if you subscribe, the next video that will be released is of a woman who purchased a one-year home in Sambuca of Sicily, and she's going to update us on the costs involved as we tour her partially renovated project. Having invested in Italy personally multiple times since 2013, as well as assisting others in purchasing for the last few years, I've experienced the wide spectrum of real estate here in Italy firsthand, especially since a lot of the times I go out in the communities myself. In fact, that's all I do. If you come to YouTube after reading the CNN article that was just released that shares the name of this video, you'll be happy because we're going to continue that story. For those who didn't read it, CNN covered the story of a number of home buyers that chose to invest in the village known as Biccari in the province of Foggia in the region of Apulia. And if you're unfamiliar, it's the region that makes up the heel of Italy. I personally spent a few days in Biccari, slept in a renovated one-year home with my family there, and shared videos of the properties I toured on this channel. You can see them by visiting the links in the corner of the video. I suggest you wait until after the video is over, obviously. At the end, we're going to talk about my favorite source of cheap Italian real estate. One of the buyers mentioned in the CNN article was Rolf Bauer. I was particularly interested in his story because I was able to tour his home and move-in ready home this summer while it was still waiting for a new padrone. When I toured Biccari, there were a few properties that stuck out to me, and his house was one that I expected to sell quite quickly. When Biccari first announced their intention to sell one-year homes, they were one of the first to put more emphasis on the potential to buy something habitable for less than 10,000 euros. Through YouTube comments and working with buyers directly, it's been obvious that the majority prefer to avoid the headache of managing a remodel from a distance in an unknown language. If this is your preference, I suggest you focus your search in villages with less than 20,000 people, and more specifically out of Italy's tourism belt. Sorry, yes, that means a beachside villa is out of the cards. Remember, we're talking about really low budget properties here. But having the sea within 20 minutes is doable. Sites like Idealista.it and Immobiliare.it can be good sources for your search. There are also local agent independent websites that make up the larger portion of real estate available that aren't posted on these other public websites, but the best deals are properties that have typically been abandoned for a decade or more. So it's possible they aren't even listed, and a local contact would be useful. You know, someone who knows the community. Superior homes have only come to spotlight as a market reflex to the popularity of one-year homes, which are mostly located in Sicily and southern Italy. If you're a follower of this channel, you may have seen my recent video where after 2 years of searching, I finally made an offer on a one-year home. That remodel will be shared here on this channel. So there's another reason to subscribe if you haven't yet done so. I have spent a lot of time researching one-year homes in their communities, and I have to say that Biccari is one of my favorites. Why didn't I buy in Biccari? That's a video for another day. The one-year homes seem as if they would be the best source of low-cost real estate here in Italy, but it's not always and typically isn't the case. You see, one-year homes often reach the status due to some condition of the property that renders it undesirable. Perhaps there's a giant crack in the wall, like I found in Cantiano. Maybe it's inconveniently positioned in the historical center, or just holds no value for the previous owner. Whatever the reason, the truth of the matter is the communities offering one-year homes are limited, so unless you have some particular interest, there are likely better options in another community. The one situation where I'd say a one-year home is your best option is if you'd like to gut the project and start from scratch and don't mind investing in a village that might be lacking and needs some TLC. One thing to note is that superior homes give you a bit more, communities to choose from because they can be found in villages that aren't one-year home villages. There are literally quite a number of them. Now, my favorite type of Italian real estate, cheap Italian real estate sourcing is actually through court auctions. And that's actually how I came across the property that I live in currently. I've shared that story on my channel. If you haven't seen that video, that's in the link in the corner as well. Go ahead and check that out after this is over. I've shared it. It's pretty basic home, townhome style. But we've been comfortable for a number of years and we paid cash. It was really easy because it was only about 38,000 euros. Pennies on the dollar, really. So if you want to find great sources of cheap Italian real estate, you really might consider the auctions. There are some things to understand about that before getting involved, and I'd be happy to talk to you about that. Make sure you use the links in the description to get into contact with me. But let me just tell you why auctions are my favorite Italian real estate source. Auctions can seem a bit confusing at first, but what happens with typical traditional real estate is that you want to buy a property and you have to go and start making inspection reports and taking care of that. With an auction, as soon as it goes to court auction, the court orders an actual inspection, and that inspection report is made public. So without doing any costs, you already have, from someone else's perspective, the value of that property right there. You have to be able to speak Italian. You have to be able to understand what to look for inside that report. But if you know what to look for, you can basically, even though you're buying as is, you can know what you're buying and what your exit strategy will be once buying that property. So all you have to do really is wait for the price to reach a point where it seems valuable to you. Make sure you've done your due diligence or hire someone to do that for you, and then participate. And then basically in a few weeks or months, you'll have keys in hand after making the payment, obviously. Italian real estate is a bit confusing. You definitely need to watch your back and trust the right people, but it's not impossible. I urge you to continue searching on more tips on buying cheap real estate here in Italy, because, Italy for so long has been put under a bad light that it's not worth investing in, that I think it's about time some people start to actually care about it. And I thank you for checking this channel out. Again, subscribe and stick around for the tune in again for the next video where we talk about Sambuca of Sicily.